Hello everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video, and I thought today we would go over something I've been asked a lot about on stream, is what card should I craft if I want to start playing Wild? Dust is a valuable commodity in the Hearthstone scene, and people don't really want to part with it without really feeling confident that it's going towards the proper cards. So over the next couple videos, I thought I would give you an idea of what your dust should be used towards if you are planning on playing Wild. So we will be focusing on only legendaries, right, or cards that are in Wild right now. No cards from Standard. There are several cards that, for instance, that you would definitely want to craft for Wild, such as like Zephyrus, right? That card's insane. But we're going to go over cards that you can't really open in regular packs outside of the Wild packs. These are Wild cards only, so from every expansion and venture that has been released, from Kobolds and Catacombs back to Naxxramas. So I'm going to branch these recommendations out into two main categories. We're going to go over neutrals first. Neutral legendaries are obviously the most valuable to craft, as they can be used in almost all decks, unless they're tri-class, which there are a couple on this list. And then we are also going to then look at class legendaries, which, of course, you can only use the legendaries for that one class. And then within each categories, I'm going to give you a must-craft, a recommendation of whether it's really good or just worth considering if you really want to splurge or you have one deck really in mind. So let's get going with the neutral must-craft legendaries. We're going to start with Baku the Moon Eater himself. Hall of Famed early for a good reason. He is very powerful. He changes your hero power to an upgraded hero power if you only have odd cost cards in your deck, and it still sees play in several decks to this day, whether it be Odd Paladin or Odd Warrior in particular. These decks have been meta pretty much the entire time and will continue to be going forward. You're pretty safe crafting Baku. He only gets stronger as more odd cards are printed. Odd Rogue is another example of a deck that comes into play as well. Although not that meta right now, it's still a particularly good deck. So you can be relatively safe crafting Baku. So what's the next recommendation? Well, Gen Greymane, kind of his counterpart. The legendary that makes your hero power cost 1 if your cards are all even in your deck. So even Shaman, extremely strong deck, one of the best in Wild right now, has been for the majority of its existence, as well as even Warlock is a relatively strong deck. Not great right now, but still a very solid deck, and even Hunter I see pop up quite often. And then you can do, other stuff if you're feeling crazy, like even Druid. I've seen it. It's not great, but I've seen it. You just have multiple options, and just like Baku, will only get stronger as more even cards are made. So I would definitely recommend crafting him. Another must craft, and this guy is just absolutely a must craft, is Reno Jackson, the original Reno himself. Battlecry, restore your hero to full health as long as your deck contains no duplicates. He is seen play in countless decks, and Highlander keeps getting more and more support, and more cards are made. Highlander decks become better. Reno sees play right now in Reno Mage, Reno Lock, even Reno Hunter. Just Reno. Craft him. You won't regret it. You can play him almost in any class without fail. Next, must craft would be Lotheb, the 5-mana 5/5 legendary from Naxxramas. Battlecry, make your opponent's spells cost 5 more the next turn. He is a great aggro card. He is a great combo disruptor. He has just been a solid card in every odd deck, just almost every deck, period, that wants to stop pesky, like quest mages or control decks or combo decks from doing what they want to do. Just a very good card. Will always see play. There's always room for Lotheb, and you will not regret crafting him. Next on the list of must crafts, Patches the Pirate. He may be nerfed, but he's still a damn good pirate. 1 mana 1/1, you summon him from your deck as long as you played another pirate. Unless he started in your hand, then you feel bad. But he's just seen play in pretty much any single token deck out there, pretty much every aggro deck out there. as long as you can run even cards. Super versatile, really good. It's just really good to get a free body on the board, and there's a ton of synergy to work with them. Patches, very good, easy, safe, must craft if you want to play any aggressive token-based deck. You gotta craft them. Really good. And the last must craft card on the list is Bran Bronzebeard. The 3-mana 2/4, your battle cries cost twice. He just goes well in so many different decks. He's in Galakron Warrior right now. He's in almost pretty much every Reno deck. He'll always be in it. Just always good with your battle cries. Just a solid card. He's good in combo decks. He's just a super good card. Again, another card you won't regret crafting because you can place him in so many different decks. And just craft him. Trust me. He's really good. So that are the must crafts for the neutral legendaries. What about cards you might want to that are really good cards, but maybe, they're not must absolutely because they don't fit in like every single deck. This one's borderline. He's almost must craft to me, but Kazakus. He's a tri-class legendary, so he can only be played in Mage, Warlock, and Priest. So only 3 classes, but just like the other Highlander cards, he's a 4-mana 3/3, and you create a potion if you have no duplicates in your deck. Very versatile, very good. You can get AoE, polymorph, damage, draw, armor, demons, a lot of good stuff. Just a solid card. You can slot it into Reno, Lock, Reno, Mage, all different variants of it. And Priest is pretty rough right now, but if Raza Priest ever comes back, he's an auto-include as well. So really solid, safe craft. Pretty close to a must-craft, but as a tri-class, I'm going to say just short, but you won't regret it. Trust me on that. Next, really good craft, but not quite a must-craft, is Sir Finley Murgleton. The 1-mana 1/3 Murloc Battlecry, change your hero power. Super good deck card in a lot of aggressive decks, Pirate Warrior, Token Druid, where you just want to make your hero power actually useful. Armor doesn't do you any good, right? You get life tap, you can get steady shot, other aggressive options. Very solid card. The only reason I don't say it's a must craft is he sees just limited play in those very specific decks. But really cool card, very good flavor. If you like playing your aggro decks, you're not going to regret it. But if you're more into the long game control combo archetype, you probably want to forget about him because he's not really going to help you out. Speaking of a card that doesn't really fit into everything, but is a very good craft, is Emperor Thorson. 6 mana 5/5 at the end of your turn, make all the cards in your hand cost 1 less. Super crazy combo enabler, can help you discount and get a ton of value if you're a very draw-centric deck. Just a very solid card. The thing is, he's just not really meta-defining at the moment. Sometimes you see him in Reno decks. You can see him in Mechathune Warlock as he can help enable your combo. But overall, he's not seeing a ton of play, but he always pops up. He never stays away for long. If you craft him, you're going to get use out of him. But again, if you're more into like mid-range and aggressive decks, you're not going to want to craft Emperor, as he is much more of a long game control combo card. So if you're not really in that alley of that type of deck, you don't really want to craft Emperor. Last on the really good list is N'Zoth. 10 mana 5/7, summon Death Rattles that have died this game, and one of like the ultimate late game cards, super crazy. Get Void Lords, Death Lords, Skartoots, Albatrosses. You can go crazy with Albatrosses, Weasel Tunnelers, all sorts of crazy cool stuff you can do. But again, this is a late game bomb, and only in slow control decks, which are really struggling at the moment. He doesn't see a lot of play, but a very powerful, very good card. If you like that type of deck, you won't regret it. He's one of the cooler, most impactful cards out there, and you can do some crazy stuff with Expire Merchant. Get multiple of them. So yeah, I recommend them, but again, if you're more into the aggressive curve-out decks, you're not going to want to run them. Next, I'm going to go over just a few more. These are kind of honorable mention cards worth considering, but see very limited play, but are very impactful if you do craft them. Just 2. First being Yashiraj, 10 mana 10/10, recruit a minion from your deck. I'm just thinking demon because Darkest Hour right now, but regardless, this card is a very greedy giant bomb that typically only sees play if you can cheat him out, but he has seen play in several of different cheese cheating decks, such as Big Priest, Big Rogue, and right now, Darkest Hour Warlock. Definitely worth considering, but only really fits into that niche of a deck. But if you're really into that, give them a go. And lastly, Zola the Gorgon, 3 mana 2/2. Put a golden copy of a minion, friendly minion, into your hand. Again, very versatile card in decks like Reno Mage and other Reno Lock. But again, kind of a utility card. Not like gonna blow your mind, do something crazy, but very solid, very worth a thought. But I wouldn't go out of my way to craft Zola or Yashiraj, but thought I'd throw them out there. Next, we're going to look at class legendaries. So these are the must-craft class legendaries at the moment. I'm really going to focus on current meta for this. This can change, but I think these cards are relatively safe until any significant balance changes happen. So, what are the must-craft class legendaries? I have 3 for you right now. Number 1, Open the Waygate, the legendary mage spell. This card is the most probably popular card in Wild right now. You cast 6 spells that didn't start in your deck. Throughout the game, you get an extra turn, and the effect is insane, powerful. You can play it in straight up Quest Mage, Reno Quest Mage, and it is just a super meta-defining card at the moment, and you are going to get a lot of play out of it until any balance change may or may not happen. Next would be the Warlock card Gul'dan, the Death Knight Gul'dan. He is 10 mana, summon all, 7 demons that have died this game, more or less. He's insane. Get your Void Lords, Doom Guards, Mal'Ganis is back, all that. Very strong, basically in every single Warlock deck, almost except the exception being Darkest Hour Warlock and Mecha'thun, but still, he's going to see play forever and ever and ever as a Warlock in Warlock until some crazy balance changes would happen. Very, very safe, must-craft legendary. And lastly, I would recommend Malfurion the Pestilent, the Death Knight for Druid. Although Druid is not insanely powerful right now, but it is very good, don't get me wrong. Malfurion sees play in essentially every single Druid deck outside of token and aggressive ones. Just one of the best cards out there. You get your Scarabs for 1/5 with Taunt, or 2/1/2 Poisonouses. And then you get an upgraded hero power of deal 3 damage or get 3 armor. Just really good card. It fits into pretty much every Druid deck. I would definitely say it's a super safe craft if you want to play Druid. Now there are 3 cards I would say are very good cards, class legendaries, but might not necessarily make the cut as they are only kind of in specific decks. So number 1 would be Aluneth, the mage legendary weapon. Super powerful card in Secret Mage. At the end of your turn, draw 3 cards. You just never run out of cards until you fatigue yourself to death. And when you're playing a burn deck, well, that's pretty good. This card has historically seen play in Secret Burn Mage, or people call it Aluneth Mage, since its inception, and will continue to until the deck somehow doesn't see play, and it's one of the best in Wild. But it only really fits into this one deck, so if you really want to play Secret Mage, then yes, I recommend Aluneth, but other than that, stay away. Another card the next 2 are very similar to that, would be, I'll put them together here, these 2, because they basically go hand in hand. Although, you know what, I'll separate them. Mal'Ganis, number 1, is a really good craft, as he fits into several different, multiple Warlock decks. I was going to say he only fit into 1, but he fits into 2 right now. He fits into Q-Block really well, he fits into Reno Lock, and he fits into Darkest Hour. Honestly, he could be considered a must-craft, but for semantics' sake, he's not. He's just very solid Warlock card. You cheat him out with your Void Color, you cheat him out with Skull the Minari, spoilers, that's coming up next, and, you resummon him with Gul'dan, and he'll just lock out a ton of games for you. Very good card, safe Warlock craft. If you want to play Warlock and you don't want to play Zoo, he's basically in every deck outside of Mecha'thun, so basically a must craft. Don't know why I'm not calling it that, but let's just say he's a really good card. And lastly, really good card, and definitely not a must craft in my opinion, but very, very good, Skull of the Minari. 5 mana, 0/3 weapon. Well, that's terrible, but who cares? You summon a random demon from your hand at the beginning of the turn, and when you're summoning Void Lords, Doom Guards, Mal'Ganis, and you have Cubes and Facelesses and Taladrim, well, that's insane, as long as it didn't get oozed, of course. And it just defines Q Block. It has since it's been made and will continue to until it's ever nerfed or something happens. So if you really want to play Q Block, you definitely want to craft Skull the Minari, but outside of that, doesn't see play, as it's typically not worth running in other decks, as it's too much of an investment. Lastly, we're going to go with honorable mentions. These are 3 deck defining cards that have seen really strong play in the past, but currently don't see much, but they always kind of pop up here and there, so you might want to consider it, and the cards are super flavorful. You won't be bored of them. So first is Death Knight Jaina. Just super great card. 9 mana Death Knight, changes your hero. You summon a water elemental. It gets all your elementals get lifesteal, and then with the hero power, any minion that you kill with it summons a water elemental with lifesteal. So it's like the ultimate control card. Honestly, it outvalues pretty much anything. Unfortunately, in Wild, value doesn't really matter when you have infinite damage with everything going on and combos and all that. So that's why the card struggles, but it is one of the most powerful and fun cards to play, and just looks awesome, sounds awesome. So I would consider it, but just be warned, you're not going to see much success with it right now, but you'll have some fun. Next, same vein, is Deathstalker Rexxar. Another insanely powerful card at times. It's a 6 mana Death Knight with a 2 damage AoE, and then you can build a beast for the rest of the game, and that could be any beast basically that costs 5 mana or less, that's hunter or neutral, and you can get lifesteal, charge, damage, all the craziness. It's infinite value, and it could be infinite it can be everything, but again, value in Wild, not so good right now. So if you want to have fun with Deathstalker, you're definitely going to have some fun, but you might not see much success. But it's a really cool card, and yeah, I definitely recommend at least checking it out. Worth considering. And last on the list of mage, it's not even a mage card, of class legendaries worth crafting is King's Bane. This card was near tier 1 insane for a while in multiple decks. First in the Leeching Poison Mill Rogue that I played a ton of, and then after that nerf, it was more in the aggressive rogues, and then Raiding Party got nerfed, but it still has seen considerable play despite all the nerfs. It's still in a relatively good deck. There's just better aggro decks right now, and you can still do combo stuff with it, go infinite with it, but without Leeching Poison, that makes it difficult. It's a very, it's a defining card for the rogue archetypes, for the aggressive one, quite often, and it pops up here and there. As more weapon support is made, the card always gets better. So if you like your aggressive weapon-based decks, you want to make a giant weapon that never goes away and smack your opponent in the face, it's worth a shot. So that's it for all of the wild legendaries I would consider crafting. I hope this video helps you make up your mind if you're torn between some, but it's an expensive investment, so choose wisely which legendary you want to craft. Tomorrow I will be back and we'll go over epics, rares, and some commons potentially, but we'll focus on epics and rares, so check that video out tomorrow. So if you liked the video today, please like and subscribe. Check out the next one tomorrow. Have a great day, and stay salty, my friends.